And they said it couldn't be done.
Hello, listeners. My name is Narrator in Proxyopoly at Law. This podcast is about to listen to episode number 7. The best described as free-form conversation that takes place within the abstract chambers of a fictitious Proxyopoly system. Specifically, a satirical deliberation of absurdist buzzwords which no human being ought to take into consideration seriously. Unless a friendly game of Proxyopoly would appear to make any mock proxy votes remain with its mock beneficial owners, Marcus underlying his G-scores. If any of the aforementioned circumstances within this fictitious Proxyopoly system were to present itself in such a way as to facilitate outside considerations in favor of non-traditional procurement, with specific regard to making actual proxy votes remain with actual underlying G-scores, kindly have conference with your sustainability officer and ask to be proxy variable with interest of public health is right for you and your Proxyopoly. Now, without further delay, the Jackal of Trades, Host 1.
Welcome back, all you bulls and bears and betas out there within the context of this fictitious Proxyopoly system we call the Game of Proxyopoly podcast. I'm the Jackal of Trades, and with me as ever to deliberate these absurdist corporate buzzwords in a satirical manner is the principal from whom principles of best economic interest shall never depart, Proxy Zero.
Proxy Zero. Host 2.
Yes, that's right. I'm right here, you sons of bitches. Proxy Zero in the house. Here to talk about what it is we talk about in the Game of Proxyopoly podcast. Today, we're talking dividends. We're talking income. We're talking returns.
Right you are, Proxy Zero, and under normal circumstances, I would agree with you. However, in the Game of Proxyopoly podcast and its preceding fictitious Proxyopoly system, what is clear is that nothing is clear at all, perhaps with exception to the term proxy. Would you care to elaborate further on this, Proxy Zero?
Oh, Jackal, must you bark out these opening remarks with such transitory and general legalese? But you're correct. As Season 1 draws to a close and its close closes closer, I believe the ceteris paribus of market practice here, Jackal, would dictate that you read the minutes from the previous meeting before we go about laying any more additional proxy cards on the table. Did you catch my doing drift?
Oh, Proxy Zero. If you're referring to last week's episode in which I raised an incidental motion to commit, refer, or defer the discharge of Proxy Zero as general partner of the fictitious Proxyopoly system in which this podcast operates and makes germane in an English sentence, then you're correct.
Oh, you bark your ceteris paribus now, Jackal. Though all this may be in response to my incidental motion to incrementally expand the limit of debate with respect to the proxy context of which this podcast is now producing proxy content of, we presented last week the mock prospectus for the tender offer Uncensored, which we are delivering now.
That just about sums up the action items of Season 1 of the Game of Proxyopoly podcast, Proxy Zero. But now that all the action items are clearly laid on the table before the listeners and the Proxyopolists at home, do I hear a call for an appeal?
Oh, Jackal, it would appear our Proxyopolists are encumbered by a pre-existing proxy card in the table. Specifically, the regulatory squeeze. Ergo, with my next dissonant proxy card, the deal leak, I intend to have a member of the audience, the Proxyopolis at large, read this tender offer Uncensored, and ask you to bear this in mind that this is the Proxyopoly system.
Fake ad segue music starts again. I'm a prospector, there's gold in them hills. For immediate release within this fictitious Proxyopoly system, the tender offer Uncensored for Cosmic Crunch cereal by Clown Corp, a rib-tickling romp through the cosmos of corporate comedy. City, date, dash. Brace yourselves for an outrageous adventure through the cosmos of corporate jest, Clown Corp proudly presents the tender offer Uncensored for Cosmic Crunch cereal, a side-splitting saga that redefines the tender offer experience in this fictitious Proxyopoly system, where the mock corporate action ritual cards can result in such a thing as this piece of paper. Terms and conditions, laughter guaranteed. 1. Offer price 42 Google proxies per share, because who needs serious cereal decimal points when you could just have a frolicsome 42 Google proxies. Number 2. Offer period. The clock starts when the cosmic clock strikes midnight, and it stops when the last star in the Milky Way decides it's time for bed. At any rate, Number 3, acceptance deadline. To maintain the suspense, we won't tell you. It will just be a surprise, this acceptance deadline. Number 4, payment method. We accept payments in confetti, rubber chickens, and joyous laughter. Cash is so last millennium. Patreon is so now. Linktree/NASCAR is where Patreon can be found, and one can contribute to this podcast endeavor. Though be a farce. Number 5, minimum tender condition, 50% plus 1 shares, because that's just how democracy of capital in the 21st century works for some reason. I don't know, don't ask me. It's the cosmos of Cosmic Crunch cereal. Number 6, Cosmic Crunch board approval. By the time the board finishes a pie fight, fictitious, and on paper is a pie chart, decisions therein will be made with a good-natured mess, as are pie fights. Number 7, withdrawal rights. Reserved for those who can juggle at least 3 giggle proxies without dropping them. Juggling skills are non-negotiable. Special consideration for the general partner at large.
It's me, Proxy Zero. You're game with another fourth-wall breakthrough in this fake ad segue segment. I have your trusted voice in this Proxyopoly. Hereby extend an invitation to the general partner at large to join these festivities of the proxy contest within the context of this fictitious Proxyopoly system. We so make germane in this proxy content of the proxy context of the Game of Proxyopoly podcast.
Right you are, Proxy Zero. Normally, I don't like to chime in on all these fake ad segues that we do here in the Game of Proxyopoly podcast, but here for the sake of what is meta and what is fictitious, I presume, this reminder to our listeners that the Game of Proxyopoly podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you. Please become a member on Patreon today on Ego Pro, Ergo Pro, or if you're up for it, Pro Zero.
Well, I won't fill in the blank for the listeners there, Jackal. I surmise they can determine for themselves how to fill in the blanks on those subscriptions. At any rate, let's proceed with this grey robber baron they call NASCAR bumbling on about some proxy.
I consequently find myself in agreement with you there, Proxy Zero. It would appear as if this tender offer Uncensored appearing as if anticipatory before the proxy contest within the context of this fictitious Proxyopoly system. You may now increase your votable share position prior to this mock proxy contest. Who could have seen this coming? Is what we dare ask on Linktree/NASCAR. It serves as a friendly reminder to our listeners that this is once again a fake ad segue.
Fake ad, segue music, and drawing.
Oh, what's that, Jackal? You appear speechless. What's the matter? Proxy got your tongue? No matter. It would appear that this proxy contest, while it may have been a nuisance, will prove futile at the face of my tender offer Uncensored, as once I have acquired all of the mock proxies in order to maintain a majority ownership position of the equity stake of which I am soliciting this mock tender offer for within the context of the fictitious Proxyopoly system. I believe you know where this is going now, Jackal. Link Linktree/NASCAR cosine. Within the context of this fictitious Proxyopoly system, the Linktree can be used to form alliances with Proxyopolis and the general public at large to express their enlargedness with one another. At any rate, that's Linktree/NASCAR cosine. For the meantime, we have a podcast to maintain and uphold and keep operating with income, dividends, and returns, as previously mentioned in this podcast. Now go, search for the proxy pundit to take on the jackal of trades. Weepy!